New cards, PogChamp. New cards, PogChamp. Master Diamond, it's time for your 4 p.m. life-destroying machine. Yes, dear. New Shaddoll cards are out. I actually just don't know what the Shaddoll lore is. I thought that all of the Shaddolls were cleansed to their pure forms, but I guess not, because here's Winda, right? I thought Winda got better. Here she is again. I don't know. All right. First up, Tohu Shaddoll Gristia. Jesus Christ, man. Holy moly. Gemini Master Diamond betrayed for 1,000 years and sent to the Shadow Realm. All right, here we go. You can only use one of the first and second effect of this card's name, and only once that turn. Flip, you can target a non-rock Shaddoll in your graveyard. Apply its effect that activates when it is flipped face up. What? And if this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can fusion summon a Shaddoll fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing materials from your hand, field, to graveyard. You cannot special summon from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect, except Shaddoll monsters. So this one is crazy. This is a fucking killer card to include in the archetype. Send from deck to perform a fusion summon. The lock is rough, and it's not for the rest of the turn. It's the entire turn. But to be clear, like, Shaddoll does have the ability to do interesting things only using Shaddoll fusions. Winda still exists. Construct goes plus infinity. You can get trap cards into rotation now for more layered interaction. I hope that this is part of a move to make the Shaddoll deck less, here's a bunch of generic utility stuff that you can put in a deck that performs a fusion summon and then use Shaddoll fusion as a board breaker, and more, I'm going to do something with my individual monsters. Even in decks that do the latter, this can be sent during your opponent's turn, and you can just perform the fusion summons then to like get into like a critical window without locking yourself, because you can then just link it off on your turn. I don't know. I think that there's a lot you can do with this. Next up, El Shaddoll Meshach Shrael. Shaddoll and a Dark and an Earth. So this is, I imagine, the new payoff. Unaffected by your opponent's activated spell trap effects and by activated effects from your opponent's monsters whose original level and rank is lower than this card's level. That's interesting. Once per turn, you can pay 800, add a Shaddoll or a Void card from your deck to your hand. Okay, we are marrying the Infernoid stuff. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Shaddoll monster from your graveyard. Okay, this is a cool thing to make as part of an end board, just like a sticky guy that's hard to get rid of and floats infinitely. The Shaddolls already kind of float infinitely, but also this ad is good enough, allows you to, like I said, diversify your points of interaction, because you can go get a trap that you can flip during your opponent's turn. Next up. Rishadal Wendikuru? Huh? What? What is going on in this one? All right, so this is Ulti Petalfin, but Shaddollified, but I don't see the strings on her. And also, Wendy got better? All right, chat says, Wendy gave up her Shaddoll magic to Zephyrath. Okay. All right. So I'm going to click this earlier post, but keep in mind that you are not permitted to discuss leaks. This is the official release. That's the only reason I'm clicking this. Here we go. Must first be fusion summoned. You can use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. Quick effect, you can change any number of set monsters to face-up defense. Then you can change other face-up monsters on the field to face-down defense, up to the number of flip monsters flipped face-up. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Shaddoll card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. This card's unbelievable. This card is absolutely bonkers for a number of reasons. Allows you to trigger a shitload of Shaddoll effects, and the Shaddoll effects range from like good to unbeatably strong. Importantly, also is interruption. Books your opponent's monsters, just like access Eclipse at instant speed. It is a cool piece of an end board that isn't necessarily like a card that's hard to out or flat negation like Shekinaga. It's flexible. It does stuff going first or second, because the second effect is, I believe, you can change, and it doesn't have to be your opponent's monsters. You can just use it to trigger Shaddoll's effects if you have them set, which a bunch of cards like Reshadol Incarnation allow you to do. This is crazy. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I really, really, really think this card forecasts a new Shaddoll deck that is unironically very playable. And then Void Liberation. So this card allows you to reveal a Shaddoll card in your hand to add 2 Shaddolls from your deck to your hand of different types, and then discard 1 card, bonkers, and you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a Noid from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So they want you to marry the Shaddolls and the Noids. I don't know what that looks like, especially because there's a summon lock on new Master Diamond. Perhaps there is something you can do with these that are interesting, but I imagine that graveyard effect is just going to be ignored. It's for lore reasons. Yeah, I know it's for lore reasons. I want to know what impact it has on gameplay. These cards are unbelievable. They're really, really strong. And I do want to be clear, Shaddoll is a deck that is close. I mean, how many times have you seen Shaddoll Fusion splash in a good deck, even this format? I would not be surprised to see this deck do well after the release of these cards. Obviously, it'll take some time in the tank, some people to find out combos, but it's got everything a 2025 deck needs. Like, not necessarily a 1 card that gets you to a very specific board, but a super flexible combo that gets you to a ton of different places. Cards that are better going second than going first, but still good either way, as well as the ability to diversify your types of interaction, where they're located, and if they're monsters, spells, and traps. The only thing it's kind of missing is a turn 0 play, but hey, Havness is still legal, LOL. All right, next up. All right, everyone wants me to talk about this card, Miracle Ejector. There is a Hero Circular available. This card is called Miracle Ejector. It's always treated as an elemental hero card. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card's name once per turn. Send a Neo-Spacian monster from your deck to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normally special summoned, add a spell trap that mentions an elemental hero card's name from your deck to your hand. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it. So this card's not good. A lot of people have been like, Hero Circular implies that Hero will now be good. It is not. I hope this forecasts a Neo-Spacian retrain, because the Neos retrain stuff is good, but half of it feels totally unplayable because there is still not a Neo-Spacian worth summoning. The stuff that this can do is kind of interesting. I talked a little bit about it last stream, and unfortunately my diagnosis hasn't changed. In terms of Neo-Spacian monsters you want to be playing in your deck, there are not any. Aqua Dolphin is okay. Grand Mole, of course, is Grand Mole. This spell trap that mentions an elemental hero monster's card name is pretty limited. It's mostly those shitty equips from like 2006. The ones that matter are the ones that say elemental hero Neos. That's all of the new support, but of course those cards still require you to be playing a significant amount of Neo-Spacians, which means they're not fantastic. The other thing you can search that people have been talking about is the Terra Firma Negate, which is fine, but already accessible through the mainline hero combo and basically just not worth it. And then if sent to the graveyard, target a card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it is cool, but like, I don't know. There are a lot of ways you can trigger this on your opponent's turn, but not in the way you want. It's not a DD Crow. It's like an after-the-fact activation, so, you know, you have to be proactive with it, which kind of sucks. I don't know. I know a lot of people have been like, Cosmo Neos becomes more playable as a result of this, which is fine, but also not the direction I want Hero to go. Blech. This gives you Darkla and a draw without burning the normal. Definitely a consideration for Hero. Implying that Hero is any sort of relevant deck, unfortunately. Like, yeah, you can get Darklaw without using your normal, something that is already possible through the mainline Hero combo, right? This is, I guess, a 1 card for it, and all you have to do is play EN Shuffle and play a Neo-Spacian. Finally, more bricks for the Hero deck. Like I said, I hope what this forecasts is a retrain of the Neo-Spacians, and I think it will. The Neo-Spacians are ripe for a retrain. They have had no love outside of the spell cards. I would love to see like an advanced dark change for them, but they're actually good. And to be clear, this stuff is happening. Like, we are going to get more Hero stuff in the coming packs. Maze already has a Hero on the cover, so we know that new stuff is coming. I think those are the masked heroes that we don't have from the manga, but you know, maybe this will find a home in them. I don't know, man. The state of Hero is so absolutely painful to think about, even. All right, next up. Promo Pack 2026, we got some stuff. First up, Fallen Cheetah. Cannot be attributed or used as material for a fusion, Xyz, or link summon. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field while this monster is on the field, you can target one of them, switch control of it in this card, but that monster can't be attributed or used as material for a fusion, synchro, or link summon while this card is on the field. Funny. Not like good, but funny. I don't know. Maybe this can work its way into an N-board somehow and like work as a quick creature swap, but eh. Are those Animal Crossing characters? No, not at all. Blackjack, the Shadow Armored Knight. We talked about this a little bit in the Saga, but it's a funny-ass card. It makes you play Blackjack. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Each time a card is placed in your opponent's spell and trap zone, excavate cards from the top of your deck until you excavate a monster and equip it to this card, then place the rest on the bottom of the deck. Gains attack and defense equal to the total levels of the monsters equipped to this card times 300, and if the total levels of the monsters equipped to this card are more than 21, destroy it. Get it. You know, as your opponent hits, you hit in order to keep up, and then if you exceed 21, the card destroys itself, you bust, right? Like, that's awesome. I like that this card exists. In Magic, there would be, like, a whole sub-format, like Mormir Vig, based around this card, but it's funny. Should have been a win con if you get exactly 21. Dude, that would be super fun. I bet it was designed with that in mind, but it was like, no, that actually is pretty consistent. He dies after level 21 because it would reach beyond 6-7 attack. That's true! It triggers Doom Z, more like triggers Gen Z. Obviously, this card isn't good because it requires your opponent to play into it, but it is very funny, and that's important too. Pear Bear Scare. You can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. Your opponent can reveal a Pear Bear Scare in their hand or deck, and if they do, each player gains 2,000. Otherwise, destroy a monster they control. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, add this card to your opponent's hand. Wow! This is kind of cool! Wait, I'm kind of fucked up about this cube card. I think it has applications outside of Cube. Okay, one monster they... wow. Very interesting. Okay, so... let me walk you through what's going on here. This is a quick play spell that destroys a monster on the field. Then after its activation, goes to your opponent's hand, and then your opponent can activate it, at which point you reveal that you are playing this as a 3 of, we both gain 2,000, right? And then it goes back to your hand in the process. So they'll never activate it. The play pattern for this is you activate it and it just doesn't go to your graveyard, it goes to your opponent's hand. This is an effect that is not bad. I want to be clear. Sky Striker players for a very long time were playing Offerings to the Doomed, which is just worse than this card. It doesn't target. It can destroy set monsters. Like, it's already... And it doesn't skip your draw phase, importantly. It does have the same card economy because your opponent gets an extra card, but it's a card they can't activate because you just gain life points on it. I also should point out, in Sky Striker, this has a little diminished playability because it doesn't put a spell in the graveyard. But where it will have playability possibly is, like, this is a really, really great consideration in Genesis. It's just like a good all-rounder that finishes off like a board plan. It's great going first or second. Man, I like this card a great deal. Radiant Typhoon, oh, for sure, but that deck isn't going to be non-pointed for much longer. Wow. Damn, this card is awesome. And I hope they don't point it. It strikes me as Final Bringer of the End Times, like a quick play that just should not get pointed. That just, like, is potentially part of the format. And again, I will say, this gets a little weird if your opponent is also playing this, if it's good enough for both players to play. So as long as it shoots the gap on, like, a semi-relevant removal spell that not everyone is going to play, then it's good. All right, next up. Early Palm Gets the Wind. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving your monster, you can roll a 6-sided die and apply this effect to your battling monster based on the result until the end of this turn. If you activate this effect during a battle involving 2 monsters in the same column, choose which effect to apply without rolling a die. What the fuck? Okay. 1 or 4, it's not destroyed by battle. 2 or 5, it loses 500 attack, is unaffected by activated spell trap effects, except this one. 3 or 6, it gains 1,000 and can make 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. Awesome cube card. Awesome cube card. This is so cool for cube. They have to be making a cube. This is a perfect card for cube. No application in TCG whatsoever. And Ebisu Shinsen Matsuri. Once per chain, if an effective monster is special summoned, you can target one of them, special summon a Shinsen token to its controller's opponent's field. In defense position, at the start of the battle phase, you can destroy this card and as many tokens on the field as possible. And if you do special summon an Ebisu token, its attack and defense become the number of tokens destroyed by this effect times 700. I'm sure this is some pun that we just don't get in America. Again, cool card for cube. There's a couple more that for some reason I can't find. I'm looking for the new Hulk. Oh, you've got it already. I got it already, Squidward. Remaining new cards from 25 DB. First up, Hulk Tua. All right, we've got Infernal Strike Fighter. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. During the main phase 2, you can destroy as many face-up monsters on the field as possible, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's total original levels times 200. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target a level 5 or lower machine monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. So it includes itself in that face-up monsters on the field, so will trigger that second one, right? This is Dark Strike Fighter, but fixed, as you can see, during the main phase 2. Crystron support, unironically. I think that's true. Finally, a time card, now that we don't need time cards. Galaxy Eyes Antimatter Dragon. 2 level 9 monsters, Generator mentioned. Once per turn, you can Xyz summon Galaxy Eyes Antimatter Dragon by using an Xyz monster you control with 3 or more materials. Any battle damage this card with material inflicts to your opponent is halved. Detach a material, then if you detach a monster, send a monster with the same type from your deck to the graveyard. Once applied, this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. This will end up in Generator. Okay, so what's kind of weird is, shockingly, I think this card is not bad. I think it is probably worth thinking about this card the same way you would think of a card like Beatrice or Laval Chain. And the reason is, all you have to do is make a 3-mat Xyz and then slap this guy on top. Then one of your materials in any deck is going to have the same type as a card that you want to send to the graveyard. Can you do that second effect first? It cannot be used turn 1. Okay, it is garbage then. This card is not great. Wind Unicorn Parallel the Draco Slayer. So I thought when we got the new Magispector support, they would just unban Kieran. But I think, isn't Kieran still banned? What the fuck? So they're making Kieran 2. You can only use the Pendulum effect of this card's name once per turn. If you have a card in your Pendulum Zone, you can activate one of these effects, special summon this card, destroy this card, and if you do, special summon a level 5 or lower Pendulum monster from your Pendulum Zone. Wait, Kieran is unbanned? And it still sucks? Monster effect, you can use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. Your opponent cannot target this Pendulum summoned card with card effects. It can't be destroyed by their card effects. You can target a Pendulum monster you control and a card your opponent controls to return them to the hand. This is a better card than Kieran. Kieran was banned for a fucking decade, and they were like, we're just going to put a better Kieran. That's how good we feel about how bad Kieran is. Ah, man. I don't know. So the important part of this one is it's a level 6 spellcaster, which puts it at playability for the specific new Magispector support, which cares about level 6 wind spellcasters. This is a great card to be summoning. It has a really powerful effect both in the scale and on the field. And the typing on this, a Draco Slayer, means that there's a bunch of new stuff you can play it with that is really exciting. But it's a pendulum. What do you want me to say? I mean, no matter how powerful a new pendulum card is, it is probably not suspect for playability because there is just not a pendulum archetype that is remotely playable right now. The existence of pendulum at present is a series of monster combo things that could be pendulums or not pendulums based on whatever way the wind blows. Look at Sulfachord. Or specific cards with a really funny interaction in terms of extension and better decks that do something interesting like Yummy. I don't know, man. They did ban D-Barrier. Maybe it's a little more playable now. It's a damn shame because I actually really like the new Magispector stuff. I like the new Abyss Actor stuff. I think the ways they're modernizing the pendulum decks are good. It's just really hard to make a pendulum deck that doesn't frustrate people. The fact that the DDD stuff came and went as a wet fart, I think, pretty much proves you can put whatever you want on these cards as long as it's a pendulum monster. People aren't going to read it. And finally, Halq-Tua. Crystron Halqifibrax Prism is a Link 3. If this card is Link Summon, you can special summon a tuner from your extra deck and defense position with a level lower than or equal to the original levels of the monster's used as material. It just does a Synchro Summon. Finally, we found a way to make Halqifibrax fair. It's a Synchro monster. During your opponent's main or battle phase, quick effect, you can banish this card you control, special summon 3 Crystron tokens. They cannot be tributed. Okay. Elegant way to do this. This card's good. I mean, people are talking about how it's not Halqifibrax. Yeah, no fucking duh. It's actually really good that's not Halqifibrax. The important part of this is that summon a tuner from your extra deck and defense position with a level lower than the monster means that you can get one of the many monsters that performs a Synchro Summon on your opponent's turn. Of course, the obvious one is Crystron Condanks, which you can get around in a Crystron lock because this card's a Crystron and Condanks is a Crystron. And then during your opponent's main or battle phase, you get material for the Synchro. So, I mean, there is a great number of interesting stuff you can do. And they do a good job of boxing out the frustrating parts of this card. You know, it only summons the tokens on your opponent's turn, so you can't Aurora on your way out of this. You can only summon a tuner from your extra deck and defense position, and that is a really different pool of cards than every tuner. 2 new Halq combos, first an actual combo. Yeah, I'll watch this. Here's a 1 card off of Primite Ether Barrel. Yeah, that's reasonable. Spirit effect, grab Mausoleum effect, target spirits and booed. Go for the fusion to make Nether, and then we go summon Labradorite, make Con for Reclea, send the back row, and then we make, who the fuck is this? The Dragoonity Link 4. That is a cool piece of an end board. Maiden for True Light summon back the get Eyes of Blue, extra normal for Sage effect, grab Valor, Soul to bring back Blue Eyes, Maiden effect, equip it with a guy, and then we go, oh, cool, for the new 7. I love the new 7. And Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. That's cool. I mean, that is a functional, realistic 1 card combo that I don't get frustrated about, but is definitely playable. This is the annoying combo that will not happen. All right, Satellar Knight Nova, get the Light Fiend. We're going through the Fiendsmith line. Go for Sequentia. Fiendsmith sequence goes into Air Eater. Aerial Eater sends Resonator for the Quan into Danglong. Okay. Ding Dong, Dragoonity Link 4, summon out Zephyrinui, Legacia, go Legacia effect, Oracle stack, put Zephyrath on top. Zephyrath trigger. We have the other scale, of course. Rampengu. We will bring back Zephyrinui. That's 2 6s. What are we making? Beatrice. Electromite, of course, not available in the States. Go for the Astrograph Sorcerer in order to summon itself, and we will grab another copy of Zephyrath, draw a card. It's Nibiru. The new DM. We go to Moon of the Closed Heaven. Go Dragoon into Abawaku. Into Dragoon. Set 1 card. Bring back Abawaku. Honestly, this seems pretty realistic, dude. This is something Vlad would play at a regional in 2015 and win. This is a classic Vlad plays this at a regional in 2015 and wins the event. Oh my god. Zephyr, man. If you're wondering why Zephyrinui is part of the set board, it's because you need it for 9 pillars. Bro, come on. He was good. He was good with Zephyra. What are you talking about? He was great with Zephyra. Holy moly. Oh, man. What a sexy-ass combo. And then they're going to do the same combo. Actually, it was 2017. You're right. Oh, my God. That sends new cards PogChamp.